This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. I have a serious question to anybody in the audience. Do you watch ESPN regularly? Or I don't even want to just pigeonhole this to ESPN. Do you watch cable sports networks on a regular basis, like when sports aren't on? You know, I watch like ESPN when they have a game on. I watch their pregame coverage when there's a game on, but I don't find myself tuning into ESPN in the middle of the day to like see what Pat McAfee's take is on something, or to get the debate about what's going on First Take. I just have not really ever been interested in content like that. I don't understand its appeal. And I used to make more of a show of getting these clips from these ridiculous shows and reacting to them and explaining exactly why the things they are saying, particularly about the Cleveland Browns, are ridiculous. But I find myself not even wanting to do that anymore. Because when I see these clips on ESPN, I don't think I have fun questions anymore. Right? Like, I don't think I have the fun. I've seen too many of them. And this latest clip was the one that kind of broke me. Let's roll it.
Okay, Dan, so did the Cleveland Browns, and they got mollywopped in the playoffs. What's your point?
That's what I'm talking about when I say they went to the playoffs. You said if they get quarterback play, they're a legit contender. You don't feel that way about Cleveland when they just did it with Joe? That's what I'm saying.
I didn't say they wasn't a contender. Who do you trust more? Do you trust Mike Tomlin or you trust Kevin Stefanski more, Dan? Tell me who you trust more.
Kevin Stefanski's a two-time coach of the year.
So what? He hasn't won a dang old thing, Dan. Who do you trust more, Stefanski or Mike Tomlin? Answer the question.
Both. They're both great coaches.
Don't tell me about what he's a two-time coach of the year. He ain't won a doggone playoff game. Or maybe he won one.
That doesn't.
I'm going to be honest. What bummed me out about that clip wasn't necessarily the argument that was going on or the specifics about the debate that they were having. It bummed me out on a different level because I watched that clip with those two guys involved in that clip, and I asked myself an existential question. Why does sports talk even exist? Like, what is the purpose that any of us who speak into a microphone about a sports team, what is our purpose? It's a serious question. You know, I personally believe, like when I get up in the morning to do this, that the purpose of sports talk is to, one, have sports conversations with other people who are interested and engage with whatever sports topic that you're talking about, and having conversations while, you know, it might be some difference of opinion. That's what sports is about. You know, there will be room to learn, right? That's the ethos of every project that I do. Right? And that's the world that I live in when I associate and talk about sports talk, because that's how a lot of the people I work with, you know, Jake Burns, G. Bush, like all of these guys I have on this channel, that's how we view this thing. That's how we talk about this thing. And then I get sent a clip from ESPN, and it just destroys that entire bubble. Because when I watch ESPN, I don't think that my purpose is here to teach and get more people engaged into the specifics of whatever sport I'm talking about, or really know what they're talking about, to have these really interesting conversations. Nah, when I watch ESPN, I feel like our purpose is to get naked and dance to the next football game, because these people need something to have their minds on before that next game come. Like, it just feels so dirty when I watch ESPN. It just feels so nasty. nasty. Like it's almost to the point to where like I don't like it when people I like and respect work there, because it's just like, dog, they making you demean yourself like this. And that's how I felt watching Harry Douglas and Dan Orlovsky have to sit here and yell on live television about what coach do you trust more. And my point is that Dan Orlovsky and Harry Douglas aren't charlatans. They aren't football know-nothings who know nothing but to lean back on just gimmicks. These are dudes who were in the NFL and known for being smart while they were in the league. These are guys that I have seen independently when they're not on ESPN's most highly rated shows be able to put out good analysis. Guys that put out great work on social media, on the internet. Guys that know ball, as they say. And then they get on First Take and they can't help but to get butt naked and dance and do the thing. These dudes, football dudes, ball knowers, out here on First Take showing ass. I can't, man. Like, is this what it's gonna be? Is this what it's gonna be? Is this what my career is mounting up for? Is to eventually be on First Take crying about who you trust more? Like, is that the inevitable irony of my career? I hope not. And when I think of that, right, when I see these two very, very talented people devolve into that, it makes me remember something I learned a long time ago, which is when you have a complaint, it's important to differentiate if that complaint is stemming from a bad apple or if that complaint is stemming from a system that is creating the problem that you do not like. For example, let's use a household appliance like a heater as an example. Sometimes your heater does not work because there's a small part that's broken. Maybe a wire got frayed and it's not stable. The connection isn't stable. Maybe all you gotta do is put some electrical tape on it. You can fix your heater, move on with your day. You'll be fine. That's the only thing that's wrong. But you also have to figure out, why did that wire get frayed, right? Was it something that was wrong with the heater that frayed that wire, right? Is it more than just one bad apple? Is it a grouping of bad apples here that created the problem that you're experiencing? But if my problem is that I'm mad that the heater is making the air hot, then my problem is with the system, not with the parts, right? Putting duct tape, putting electrical tape on that frayed wire to fix that heater, that's not gonna fix my problem. Right? Figuring out what was wrong, that's not going to fix my problem is that the heater blows hot air. My problem isn't something that's wrong with the heater. It's the heater. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. And when I see these two yell at each other like this for a conversation of this caliber on ESPN, and let me be clear here, sports talk media's highest rated show, if the most popular thing you could do as somebody who talks sports is be on First Take, as the most popular thing, if you get to First Take from a viewership standpoint, that is the Super Bowl. Yes, as sad as that sounds, that is the truth. And there's a lot of people way younger than me that only grew up with First Take that don't even have a negative view of First Take. They see First Take as unironically the Super Bowl because that's been the most popular sports talk venue. I look at these two arguing like that, and I think to myself, dog, I'm sitting here mad because the heater is blowing hot air. Like, that's exactly what ESPN is designed to do. That's exactly what First Take is designed. It's designed to blow hot air. And a lot of times when we're criticizing something with the power of ESPN, we fool ourselves into thinking that the system is broken, right? It's just a few bad parts in the system. It can be fixed. If we get people who know football in there, if we could get real football and baseball and basketball folks in positions of power, ESPN will be fixed and it will be back to actual sports talk on that network. That's not true. ESPN isn't broken. ESPN is doing exactly what it's designed to do. ESPN is that heater, and ESPN is blowing hot air. That's exactly what ESPN is supposed to do. At least that's what the people in charge want it to be. They got Dan Orlovsky. They got Mina Kimes. They got Harry Douglas. They got ball knowers on that network, on that payroll. A lot of people who know a lot about football, a lot about every kind of sport work at ESPN. But yet, what do we see represent them? Not that, because that's not what they're about. You could put all the right parts in ESPN. You could get the right people. You could get the right producer. You can get the right showrunner, the right guys in the right spots. But the second they want your show to make money, you're going to turn into this. Because this is who all the money wants you to be. It don't matter if you Dan Orlovsky, you one of the best film breakdown guys in the country. It don't matter. You're going to do this. It don't matter if you Harry Douglas and you're very, very good at like color commentary and you have a NFL background, you've done sideline stuff. Nah, this is what you do. It makes you think, right? Especially if you're somebody who hopes to work at an ESPN. And I'm not sure I ever want to do it. But who knows what the landscape turns into? There might be a day where in order to do my thing, I got to go to ESPN. This is what goes through my head when I see one of these clips. And maybe it's a selfish thought. Maybe this is just me thinking about my future. But I do think that there was something interesting and an interesting conversation I had of maybe we should stop reacting to these clips and doing the thing that we've been doing for centuries, which, by the way, you know what's going to happen. This clip went viral. So instead of like somebody deconstructing it and breaking it down and just throwing it out as nonsense from the national media, no, what we're going to get on a local media standpoint is a lot of shows locally basically trying to recreate this argument, right? You're going to get the topics on the morning shows, and maybe the morning shows have already happened by the time you've watched this video. You're going to hear them, instead of talking about how stupid this argument is, that people are talking about who do you trust more as a basis for who the better football team is, and how silly of a concept that is for a football team. No, instead of doing that, people are going to just redo that argument. You're going to hear, hey, who do you trust more, Cleveland? Call in at 216-678, right? Like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to recreate the argument because we have decided that this is what sports talk is about. Arguing about dumb shit. Nothing. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Who you trust more? Of course you trust Mike Tomlin more. Mike Tomlin been around longer. Does it matter? Right? Does it matter if you trust Mike Tomlin more? Does that make the Pittsburgh Steelers a better football team? Hey, I trust Mike Tomlin more than any football team in the NFL. The Steelers haven't been close to a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean anything for that. Like, how much do you trust the coach? How much does that even matter? We're not going to have those debates, though. We're not going to do that. We're just going to do the same thing that Dan Orlovsky and Harry Douglas did, which is get naked and dance. Like, but seriously, I got a serious question for y'all. Is this what y'all want? Do y'all want me to have a purposely uninformed conversation? Not about where the Browns strategically are strong versus the Pittsburgh Steelers if they were to match up, or why I believe the Browns would be a better team based on how their roster is built out and the things that they have to offer and the versatility that they have when it comes to ways to win. Do you want me to just get rid of all that? Talk about which coach make you feel better. Maybe that's what I'm getting wrong. Yeah, I'm not about to settle the debate. I don't care if Mike Tomlin makes you feel better than Kevin Stefanski. That means absolutely nothing, right? I'll admit, Mike Tomlin probably would make me feel better than Kevin Stefanski because Mike Tomlin is Mike Tomlin and Kevin Stefanski is working to get to that point. But if you're asking me who the better football team is, I'm taking the Browns 9 times out of 10 for 2024. Absolutely. Doesn't have anything to do with how much I trust Kevin Stefanski or don't. Fact is that Kevin Stefanski is a reliable enough coach to where it doesn't matter if you trust him or not. More than Mike Tomlin. Doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck? Do you trust Kyle Shanahan or Alan or Andy Reid? Doesn't fucking matter. Like, are we sitting here before games, before the conference championship game, thinking to ourselves, oh man, who do we trust more? Hell, I don't trust Zach Taylor. He got past Andy Reid one time and went to a Super Bowl. Almost won one. Does it matter? Oh, man. We about to run the same play locally. I'm about to see a bunch of clips come across my timeline of people arguing locally about who you trust more. That argument is so silly. And it's just even more disheartening that I'm seeing two dudes who I know ball are capable of having a much better, much more informed conversation. And they're on ESPN's biggest show. Biggest show. And this is what they get to do. Right? Damn. Maybe I'm being a party pooper. But I do think at some point, we seriously got to ask, is this really what we want? Because this is what ESPN thinks we want. Like, I hear people talk about it all the time, how we want more informed sports talk, how sports talk's gone to the dumps. I don't ever see anybody defending the current state of sports talk. Like, I've never seen that and the internet is full of people who will argue for dumb shit. I've never seen anybody be willing to argue that position, that sports talk, mainstream sports talk especially, is in a great place, right? Maybe local or internet sports talk is in a great place, but never seen somebody make that argument for mainstream sports talk being in a great place. So, like, is this what we want? Like, at some point, somebody got to figure out that this ain't what nobody want. But apparently a lot of people watching it. So if you are somebody who does watch that, what do you enjoy about that? And I'm not asking from a judgmental place. It might sound like it, but I'm genuinely curious. What makes you enjoy that? Like, I kind of get it when it's Stephen A. or it's Skip Bayless, when it's somebody you don't really expect to know what they're talking about. But when you see certified experts doing the first take thing, does that make you want to watch more? Like, or is there a balance that you feel like could be struck of goofy, sports talk entertainment stuff like that, where Shannon Sharp does his thing and Skip Bayless does his thing? Because I understand that's entertaining. It's not my style, but it's entertaining. And a balance of like actual real football talk. It's time for memes and it's time for real. Maybe y'all like the memes, maybe y'all like the real. Like, I really need to know where we're headed as an industry. Like, is that all it's going to be? Because what I just saw was two of the most qualified people at that network having the most unqualified conversation I've ever had. And I can't imagine it's because that's the conversation that they wanted to have. But that's my thoughts on that clip. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.